It also...
Well, I've been better. But,
oh, dear.
Yeah. Okay. I just turned it on. You've got something up there now. You're on. So I'm just calling to see what's going on and everything. There you are. You got your curlers in your hair.
Yes, I do. We're all about transparency.
Like from behind the window and everything.
So it looks like we're off to a rip-roaring start. Do you have anything to say before I go into the news, which would be over here? Hang on, let me see who I've got here. Rabbit Hole Central.
Oh, hi. I'd like to speak to Paula.
You are.
I am speaking to Paula?
Yes, you are.
This is Gary Popkin. Good to talk to you.
Oh, great. Gary, I'm so glad you talked at 12 noon. We've got Harold on the other line. I can't connect you, but I can go back and forth. Unless you want, do you want to have a, do you know who Harold Channer is?
No.
Do you want to have a discussion with him?
No, I just wanted to thank you for coming on to my show tonight. I
Well,
wanted to tell your viewers.
I'm doing a transparent show. I've got my hair in curlers now, so I'll look really nice for your show.
Uh-huh. Okay, I just want to let your viewers know that you'll be live on Hardfire tonight.
Okay.
Live on Hardfire from 9 to 9:30, and we're going to be talking about the collapse of World Trade Center 7.
Can you give me a website? I'm sorry, I didn't get to the email before I went live.
Oh, okay.
What's the name of your website? I'll type it in now just to show the viewers.
Okay, I'm going to have to dig out the website for you and call you back.
Okay, do that, okay?
Okay.
And I'll get back with
will.
Harold.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. So, Harold, I'm back with you.
Yeah, I heard it on the speaker. I could hear it. Talking to somebody you're going to go on a show tonight.
Yes, I'm going to go over to BCAT, and believe me, Harold, I'm going to promote the Association for Cable Access Producers while I'm over there. Although I'm being asked to talk about 9/11 truth, I'm going to constantly be emphasizing what a privilege it is that we can sit together, even with different opinions, as public access producers, and that we have a television platform.
Yeah, it's important. It really is. I think access is really uniquely positioned in terms of the telecosm. But that's another issue. Good, you're going to make a trip over to Brooklyn then. That's great.
Yeah, that'll be
Round up some people to be, if you can dig something up about ACAP, let them know about it over there or something, maybe.
Is there an ACAP website?
There is an ACAP website. It's the one that we've inherited from Anna, and it's going to be optimized in the time ahead, but that's acaptv.net.
Okay.
And you could let them know that's there. And sure, that'd be great, because we're working on that, and John Steinmetz has come on the organizing committee, and he and Carl Pearson are contributing a lot. We're going to get together with that committee, John Kowalski on it, and the Peels, and Reverend Ben David. So it's working a lot in terms of trying to get it together, how ACAP might be reformulated or improved or something, yeah.
Harold, that's great. While I've got you on the line, what I want to do is go over a news item. Oh, let's see.
Okay.
Maybe that's. Let's see who that might be. Just a second. Hello.
Oh, hi, Paula. It's Gary Popkin.
Oh, Gary, great. Do you have that website?
I have the website where your viewers will be able to watch you on Hardfire tonight.
Okay.
I won't be hosting the show.
Okay.
So they should
Just
not
give me
look
that
at me.
website so I can get a visual up here.
Okay. So it's a long and funny URL. You ready to go?
Yep. I'm ready.
Ready to type? Okay. It's www.
Okay.
.brickonline, and brickonline is spelled like brick without the K. It's BRICONLINE.
Okay.
.org.
.org. Okay.
And then / BCAT. That's BCAT. That's the abbreviation of
Right.
Brooklyn Community Access Television.
Okay.
And then another /
Okay.
and then default.asp. ASP stands for Active Server Pages. So
Okay.
it's www.brickonline.org /BCAT /default get your screen on my computer, I could.
There it is.
Whether,
it
there
says.
you are.
It
You're
says
looking at it. Okay.
Arts and Media.
Your viewers should click on BCAT 2. If you look over at the right side of the screen, you'll see BCAT 2 as one of the channels. BCAT runs 3 channels, live streamed, and I see that you are showing BCAT 2. You're showing your viewers where BCAT 2 is, and they can try it now. And
no, actually,
what's on.
I don't know if I'm showing that to my subscribers, but I don't. Oh, BCAT 2 is down here, right? You do the mouse.
That's right. That's right. That's
okay.
right. That's the place. And so that's where we'll be. That's where we'll all be at 9 o'clock tonight. And may I give you the telephone numbers?
Yes, please do.
Okay. The primary number to try to call is area code 718.
718.
935.
Just a second. Did you email me this?
Yes.
Okay, but anyway, for the streamers now, 718.
Yes.
935.
9598.
9598.
That's right. Now,
and what time do they...
We have only one telephone line in, so if that line is busy...
Just wait, or just keep at it.
No, well, there's another number to call.
Oh, okay.
Your viewers should call another number and say that they're trying to get in on 9598.
Okay.
And we'll clear the line for them.
Okay.
It means that our host will be talking to some other viewer.
Okay.
Get rid of that viewer.
Okay.
So if 9598 is busy, your viewers should call 917 763
763
9896.
9896.
That's
okay.
right. Just tell us you're trying to get through, and we'll clear the line, and then your viewer will have to call the 9598 number.
Okay.
That's the only one that goes into the studio.
Okay, great. So Gary, were you the one who was doing the show when I was there with Jim Fetzer?
Well, I don't remember. Let's see. You were in the audience.
I was in the audience,
when
and
Jim Fetzer was debating Mark Roberts.
Yes, and you had changed your shirt in order to look like more shows. You did a whole bunch of shows, if I'm not mistaken.
I see. They did 3 shows. Yes.
Yeah.
And those 3 shows are available on a set of 2 DVDs on a 2 DVD set. And that was my show. I was producing and directing. I was in the control room producing and directing, and Ron Wick was the host.
Okay, great. Okay, so and he'll be the same host tonight?
Yes, that's right. And you might be interested to know, I just found out that somebody took the pains to analyze the 3 programs just to see who talked, how many minutes each speaker had in total on the 3 shows. And I think the 3 shows came to around 85 minutes.
And I bet Jim Fetzer had most of it.
That's right. Jim Fetzer was given the maximum amount of time to talk. He spoke almost as much, or this is according to my second-hand information, he spoke almost as much as Mark Roberts and Ron Wick put together.
Wow, yeah.
So Ron does give other voices, gives all voices a respectful chance to be heard. And so I'm very happy that you're going to come on to the show. I can understand that it can be wearing on both sides, on all sides of this issue, to be reiterating the same positions over and over and debunking the same opposition positions over and over. But we're still at it.
No, that is so wonderful, Gary. And I know that Harold Channer is listening, and hopefully other public access producers are, because the critical issue here is not what our opinions are and our beliefs, but that we're allowed to share them on television. That's
that's right. And the BBC TV is sending a crew over from London to film some of Hot Fire. They're making a documentary about just this matter. They're making a documentary about people speaking out about 9/11 on all sides of the issue.
Or anything, or anything.
Yes.
Just people speaking out.
I'm referring specifically to the BBC documentary.
And
their documentary is about 9/11.
I see.
Being able to present their position.
I see, Gary. So you're saying that the BBC crew is not really over here for freedom of speech, but they're over here about 9/11.
Well, they're here to make a documentary about I guess about freedom of speech regarding 9/11. I don't know exactly what the documentary is about.
Will they be there tonight?
The emphasis is not on freedom of speech generally. The emphasis is on people speaking about 9/11.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'll talk as much as you want about my position. But will they be there tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much, Gary. And let me repeat the number for you. This is Gary with BCAT, and he's a producer of Hardfire, which has attracted the attention of a BBC film crew that's going to be doing a documentary. And the number that you can call in tonight, I'm going to be with them live. He's the producer. I won't be with Gary here. But the number to call to get the live call in is 718-935-9598. And if for any reason 718-935-9598 is busy, then you should call this number, which is a cell phone, 917-763-9896.
Yes.
So that the host can ditch the caller, saying that, you know, we need to give some time to other people.
That's right, yes. And so thank you very much for
Yes.
For articulating those numbers very clearly.
Yes.
And of course we expect the primary number, the 9598 number, to be busy the whole time.
Of course.
We expect callers from all over the world.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get them, don't worry. And I really look forward to seeing you tonight in Brooklyn.
Great.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that was Gary from BCAT. Now let's see if Harold's still with us, because I think Harold would be very pleased to know what's going on with... Harold, did you catch all that?
Well, I was actually not getting it all, but it sounds good. I'm glad you're doing that, going over to Brooklyn. That's good. One of our fellow producers.
Yeah, did you hear there's going to be a BBC documentary crew there?
No, I didn't, as a matter of fact, because I was doing some stuff, sort of.
I understand, but anyway, I'm very excited to go over there. There's two telephone numbers, and we should be busy. I'll do a half-hour show live, and then I'll tape another show after that. That's why I'm in curlers, so I can look beautiful tonight.
Right, oh, more beautiful. Is it going to be, you're going to do another show there at BCAT then, is that it?
Yeah, I'll do one live,
So
and
you can see what
then...
the system's like,
Yeah, well, actually, I was already there with Jim Fetzer.
Oh, you haven't?
So.
I haven't been there, so it'd be good.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's good. I'm glad you're doing all of that, and all kinds of things going on and everything like that. I'm happy to report on that ACAP thing. I don't know if you got it. I know you're busy as all get out, so things, but that when we had that meeting of ACAP here with, I don't know, 20-odd people or so, that you did the stream with your computer.
Uh-huh.
That the woman that I've been in long touch with, I've had long, hour-long conversations with her about the situation in Austin, and she only has dial-up. But on her dial-up, she watched the meeting.
Oh, our stream?
The stream. She saw it down in Austin.
Wow.
She comments on it and was happy to hear us refer to the takeover of some cable access facilities by a local power group as like media, mafia-like. And she signed up, she's a member of ACAP now. So we got a person down in Texas.
It sounds, Harold, like we've got a real thriller in the makings.
I can't hear you?
It sounds like we've got a real thriller in the makings.
Well, it's got a great opportunity because there aren't any specifically producer-oriented sites out there that have any kind of a, it's mostly people who are locally focused. So that's a possibility. Yeah, we're working.
Oh, hang on, Harold. To clarify, what you're saying is there's a lot of producers on public access cable channels, but they're not using the internet. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's not. Well, there aren't that many sites that are producer-oriented. There's a whole plethora of sites with the various administration teams. Like we have.
Right.
Okay. There's a lot of those, and there's an awful lot of information at the Media Alliance, the Alliance for Community Media, which is a consortium of access facilities around the country.
Is that George Stoney's?
Well, George Stoney was instrumental in informing that. They had a meeting in Boston, I don't know, 20 years ago or something when they got started. I was at that original meeting with some. They were putting together an organization of the access people to try and get something going for this thing, access. And access has not been thought of as being of any significance. It's just a lot of idiosyncratic individuals mouthing off and that kind of thing. I mean, as far as the media people are concerned, and there aren't any great numbers, so they don't pay much attention to it and haven't. Sort of like Chester Berger engaged when he became the first TV person in 1946. Nobody wanted to be fooling around with television because it was so insignificant as opposed to the real power player, which was radio.
Right.
What is with broadcast or television, they don't think access has much meaning, partly because it's democratizing things, and everybody knows that democracy doesn't have any real meaning in a society where we're only interested in the stars and the pros,
Well, I think we do have to exert our...
good, you'd be on national television on one of the networks or something.
Yeah, but I think we have to exert ourselves to not be boring. I've had some very lively discussions with Ugly George on that point.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. That's true, perhaps, and the really important issues are going to be addressed if there is maybe a democratic something going on the planet, which I think hopefully there is, and it's a thing that involves everybody in a way, and it's a two-edged thing, because one of the things you do is if you've got unlimited capability for everybody to get in on the act, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to come out, like you've got the local people in, I don't know, Dubuque, Iowa, with a kazoo band or something that the people, they're interested in, and it's not going to play national television unless it's got some wrinkle to it or something. So the thing is, the people are not necessarily going to be like stars, they're to get the eyeballs. And I think that's good. We can have interesting information, but I don't think we should try to think about being competitive to the networks or something like that, because it's a different realm, and the basis of it is democracy, and you got people and that kind of thing. I don't know, just musing.
No, I think we could even be better than mainstream.
I think it is better. I think democracy is better than plutocracy. I mean, that's just a general philosophy. And also the people respond, and then that morphs over into political and everything, the whole organization of the society, even on into spiritual things and all that. But yeah, I think that's true, that there's that it's based. That's why I was so happy with that hearing we had on the 7th of February with all those people from all these realms talking just like people rather than polished stars, which we're used to on television.
Say, Harold, I want to read something and get your opinion on this. I don't know if you were aware, but Nico Haupt and I made a phone call to a man who was a member of Parliament in Japan. And he brought before the Parliament floor in Japan that 9/11 might be an inside job. Of course, I no longer believe that. I believe it's a media job, and
why isn't that the same as an inside job? The media moguls are part of the inside power structure of the country.
Well, but
media is something different than the power structure. They're very much a part of it.
Well, you don't think that media is responsible for national security, usually?
Well, of course you do. There is a dimension of media. Media is part of a communication system by which people have been able, in various degrees, to assume power and influence over the. There's a difference, I guess, between power and influence, but over the consciousness of the country and everything, but they're very much part of the power elite.
No, but I'm talking specifically on the day of 9/11. Theoretically, they are aiming their cameras at a building that looks like airplanes are coming in, not airplanes they made come in. That's what I mean by a media job.
That's not really creative editing and so forth. And then to put that all together between the networks, which would have had to be synced in on it. But I don't think you can just say the media is something other than the power elite.
In this case, I'm saying it's not an inside job. That's a media job. That's what I mean. If that's true.
Well, what do you mean when you say inside job? You mean it's a big enough statement to say the
inside job
perhaps was involved in that.
I'm answering you. Yeah, I'm answering you. Give me a chance.
Oh, sorry.
What I mean by inside job is Dick Cheney, Bush, stand-down orders. What the heck were the air traffic control people doing? How about all the drills that were going on? All of those become non-issues if no airplanes were flying into the World Trade Center and it was a media job. Then it's not that kind of inside job.
Well, it's a different kind of inside job.
Exactly. You've
got media, mafia dons fight each other for territory and influence and power and everything, and so it would have been media moguls who orchestrated that and maybe were aware of the situation as it existed. But the thing is, the power structure, they're usually pretty connected in one way or another. I'm sorry, I don't make this. I can't see the distinction.
That's because you're very comprehensive, and that's what's driving all of us crazy, because I have viewers, Harold, who really, really appreciate your comprehensive viewpoint. And I also have Joe Friendly and others scratching their heads over how we can make Harold more understandable. But I really thank you.
I don't know, yeah.
So let me go over this.
I don't understand that thing, but anyway, so we got another subscriber to ACAT. And ACAT
hang on, Harold. Harold, you don't understand that not everybody understands you?
Of course. The beginning, I think that's the beginning.
Yeah.
To stand in on the edge of the universe and realize there's a lot to know, and all of that. Yeah, that's part of consciousness. There's something to be said for it.
So let me go over this.
Amazing. I wake up here. I've been working out the Kelvin scale of temperature gradients, because everything in the universe is thermodynamically tempered grade, and the sun is, I found out, 57,000 degrees Kelvin. Surface of the sun is many times.
Harold, can we go back to what I want to talk about?
Sure, go ahead.
And I really want your input on this. Okay, I got a news item that apparently there's a man named Dr. Hans Kuchler. And Dr. Hans Kuchler is, he appears many times as a contributor and international observer in the United Nations.
Right.
And it looks like he is saying before the UN on some kind of delegation about the global war on terror that 9/11 may have been an inside job and contradictions of an imperial strategy. And this was done last night at the Trades Hall in Auckland. Well, this may have been the night before last, because
I know.
Because
Josh Walensky reported that
can I continue?
He was Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson thinks that. He's with Alec Jones.
But here's the issue. None of those. Right. Willie Nelson is not going to point to a media job, as we here on Public Access have just delineated. Okay?
Well, I hear your words. I don't understand it.
I haven't finished. I haven't finished with
the distinction between an inside job and a media job.
Well,
I don't understand that.
Okay, let me elaborate. Okay, let me elaborate. What's going on right now in Austin, Texas?
Yeah.
In order to get those thugs away, the Dons, the mafia, to get their hands off of the public access station that the people in Austin want to use, you're going to have to take a comprehensive view of why the media Dons are moving in.
Well, perhaps. I don't know you necessarily have to take a comprehensive view.
How are you going to get it?
But plain old vanilla American power play by people that go on in society all the time. Within corporate America, some vice president takes over and they make a play. It's part of a larger context by which society is organized. Yeah, but if you want to be really effective in a comprehensive way, then you have to take a comprehensive overview. And to me, the media is just part of the power structure. So they would have to be, I don't understand that distinction. It's a tip of the hat to the creativeness of the editing capability or something, but I don't understand the distinction. I'm sorry, I just don't grasp it.
Is that all, Harold? It's just creative editing? Is that all?
Well, the fact that they made the airplane be there when it wasn't there by creating, having control, I don't understand the thing. I haven't been following it carefully. But there was no airplane there that crashed into the building. It was done by some sort of super weapons of microwave something, and that there was no airplane. People saw it on their television screens, and that was done by media moguls who put the airplane there in order to build a myth that could be, against the Arabs or something? I guess that's what the logic of it is. Yeah, they wanted it to be an airplane rather than, but they wanted to blow. Maybe it was Mr. Silverman wanted to get, return on his insurance policy, and they could I don't understand. But whatever it is, it involves the power system of the United States system, private sector and public sector, in terms of something that is not what they displayed it to be. A great big lie.
Okay, let's go to Larry Silverstein, because, our dear friend Gloria Messer is always concerned about any animosity towards the Jews, and she's protective about the state of Israel.
Yeah.
If Larry Silverstein is the real party of interest, not just the paper party of interest, then when he uses a term like pull it, which is a demolition term, people think that there were charges put in the building, there was thermite, all the ways that you bring down a building with controlled demolition.
Yeah.
Now, I feel, because that's not the deepest truth, and it doesn't acknowledge the powerful weapons that we have, the directed energy weapons, then that means that you can start to raise anti-Semitism, to think, oh, that's Jewish lightning. He did it to collect the insurance. And it's control.
Well,
and then,
not that he's Jewish, but it's also that they're, right.
No, but people.
Some group.
But people have those prejudices.
Material interest.
But people have those prejudices. People are prejudiced, and even though, Gloria and I were always in intense communication on this point. She says, I'm against racism. But it's more than just being against something. It's really understanding the seeds and the roots of it, where it comes from. And so an incomplete knowledge, incomplete science, I feel, you can't have the comprehensive viewpoint without it.
Well, maybe it's absurd to think you can ever have the comprehensive. Maybe it's beyond us, It may be. And at a certain level it is, because it'll only introduce us into another, if we ever make it, as I see it, it'll just introduce us into another level of consciousness that will be characteristic of the ongoing evolution of the biological process on this planet. But that's another issue. That's a thing like a level of speciation or evolution of consciousness or something of that sort, collectively seen. But that's another issue. And you accept in a certain sense, with certain wisdom, a synergistic view, behavioral systems unpredicted by the sum of the parts, that there's a resonating something that, and you accept at a certain level at the end of this universe 13.7 billion years ago, with an opening upon the possibility there are universes that are connected to us through wormholes and so forth, multiple universes. That's a possibility you have to keep an opening on with an open synergistic mind. But that's just that you accept in a certain sense a priori mystery. And it'll only introduce us into another level where we will be in mystery in terms of the ultimate. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to drag on or I don't see.
Can I talk now? Now can I talk? Now can I talk? Now I want to talk. Okay, I want to continue reading this. The total silence about Mr. Fujita's intervention before the committee that was broadcast live on Japan's public NH.
All of that's the situation. It may be why there's such a massive reaction positively. Apparently, we'll see what happens on Tuesday next.
What about Tuesday next?
That's Ohio and Texas in terms of the Barack phenomenon. And he's standing as someone who's talking about, in a new vein in terms of the inherited political institution.
Do you trust him?
Well, I don't know what else to do. I hope he becomes the president, and that he's introducing a context that is sort of trying to be outside of the inherited institutions, and that's where the answers will be found, in my view, if there are answers.
What do you think about what Ugly George was saying, let the people decide? What about the media blackout, about his crack use and his, decadent lifestyle?
I don't think has there been a media blackout? He did some drugs when he was young or something.
No, not
I don't think.
No, there's 500,000 hits on the internet only about a man who's come forward talking about the blowjob that he gave to him in his limousine and the crack cocaine that he took while he provided the blowjobbee with cocaine.
I haven't.
And he said that was in '99. You're going to see it tomorrow on MNN. YouTube has blocked it, by the way. I tried to post it and they wouldn't post it. Do you think is that alarming that they don't post this? Or because you like Obama, are you kind of relieved that they didn't post it? Seriously.
Well, seriously, I don't know. That would be a thing that could really maybe come up. I mean, we've impeached the president over such things. That's at a level of page 6, rumors and things and all that sort of thing, but I don't see where it relates to the larger issues.
Do you think
I don't know. It's just, we'll see whether or not they can trot that out and affect the votes, which is going to affect the political course of this country. We've done it before, and we can do it. And a lot of what you see is that, because it's it grabs people's attention and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it doesn't relate to the larger issues, I don't think. I don't know. And no, it's just that one of the things you want to get to is there's some sort of qualitative difference between now and, let's say, history. And that he begins to talk the language. You don't follow the news and politics, I guess, very closely, but he has a different kind of breed of cat about him. That's why he's getting so many of the youth.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I had a Dr. Breeding calling in saying that the Ritalin that they give to children is actually methamphetamine.
Yeah, it probably is.
And
I
so
think it's called speed.
Yeah, so
it focuses the mind, and it has to do with neurotransmitter ratios and that sort of thing. And then to underscore and reify the educational system and all of that, and it's all interrelated. I think that Ritalin is used to keep people focused on what an authority figure is teaching them to be, in touch with. The teacher is like the senior vice president or of a corporation or anything else, an authority figure to which people will learn to pay attention and focus.
Okay, now Obama or anybody else who's elected to be president is going to be an authority and is going to have a lot of power. And for better or for worse, drugs can put a person in jail. I have one viewer who was in jail for 5 years for LSD. So if somebody, so to me, if drugs is something that you're going to arrest and put people in jail for, it seems very ironical that you've got somebody like Obama that is using the very drugs and the heavy drugs that we're putting people in.
So what if he has? I don't think that, first of all, it's probably wrong to have a prescription on drugs that are affecting consciousness. Why can't people use drugs that affect consciousness because somebody doesn't like it? They think there's some natural order or something that they would repair to. It's a big issue, but it's a technology. Drugs are like a technology. We could just as well try to ban television because that affects consciousness.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
is probably not
very
relevant.
But I think you're missing, Harold, you're missing the point.
Politically.
You're missing the point. We do have a prison system that puts people in jail for taking drugs, and somebody who's running for president, who's going to be the head of such an operation, is taking the drugs himself. Isn't that a little troubling?
Not to me it isn't, but it probably is politically into national opinion, And we've had a war on drugs where we've wasted all kinds of resources and so forth, and it's probably one that would be examined within a more broad context. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong that somebody did a little experimentation when they were young. Usually people...
No, Harold, 1999 he was a senator.
And?
He wasn't a little young.
Oh, okay, 1990. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I just don't follow. No, you asked my opinion of it, it's mine, and the only reason it would have relevance is if the story gets picked up and it affects the way people think when they go into the ballot box, or the ballot place and vote.
Okay, but here's a very telling expression, infect. So here on Public Access, we're challenged. Like, I know you really like Obama, and I know and I know you like public.
Don't overdo that. Not particularly.
No, but I know. But you like the idea.
For a breath of fresh air, and he's talking about something new within the context. One of the things I'm very pleased about, he's not taking a single penny from the DLC. He's not having any. In fact, he just stiff arms them. And that's like really something to stiff arm the Democratic leadership council.
Harold, I know you want to stay comprehensive, and I'll be comprehensive, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Vis-a-vis the Obama issue, on one hand, whatever you're feeling about Obama, he's your guy. He's the hope you have. Now, if public...
No, don't do that. The hope I have is Buckminster Fuller. and maybe Bob Ashford.
No, but you're saying
I have.
no. Hang on, Harold.
I
you're
don't think
saying
he has an economic
no. I'm going to
thing
push you.
surrounded well
I'm going to
enough
push you,
yet.
Harold. I'm going to push
That
you.
is just the best.
Harold, I'm going to push you on this because you said on Tuesday something is going to happen. Okay?
It's the election in Ohio
and I'm saying for me it's worthless. I don't, and that's why I don't follow. And that's
okay.
You know, and we have a difference of opinion on that. So I'm saying, assuming that Tuesday is important, if Ugly George's information is so and it infects, you know, the people, then the vote will go another way.
Exactly.
Now, what Ugly George was saying, and this gets back to your Norbert Wiener cybernetic emerging pattern, Ugly George was saying, let the people decide. Now, when you do produce shows, you have an agenda. Each one of us has something in our heart which we feel is the true thing, right? So,
I guess so. Yeah.
So isn't it a little painful to you that tomorrow Ugly George is going to come on my show and he is going to pull up off the internet the picture of the man who had oral sex with Obama in his limo in 1999? Doesn't that...
That's likely to... It might very well affect things, yeah.
No, you. I want to know how it affects you.
It does. You mean that he did... Let's see, there's a rumor that he did this, and that might affect the election, I can understand. But what you're asking me, does it affect me that he did drugs and that he had, what, oral sex with a man? Is that what you're saying?
No. Does it make you feel sorry that public access is going to be used tomorrow on my show for a guy like Ugly George saying things like this?
Not at all. Put it out there and then see what happens.
Right.
I mean, I don't think it's very, in a larger context, I don't think it's relevant, but that doesn't mean there aren't a lot of things that affect an election or a process, political process. But to have an open source kind of way of having things done, so all kinds of things get out. That's why the internet is so good, because people can put out a lot of things. Now, one of the things you do is there's going to be things put out there that maybe are true, maybe aren't. If they are true, maybe it'll affect things. But the question is what's going to happen in terms of who's going to seize the ability to have control over the political process of one of the three superpowers, the United States. I think it's dwindling in terms of its monolithic capability because you've got it paired off between Europe, it's a different model, and you've got China, a different model. So you've got three superpowers, and the ability of the United States to be overwhelmingly able to control things is diminishing rapidly, particularly after Iraq.
Well, that's what that guy was saying, is that the kind of war is unwinnable with conventional weapons. So then you wonder, what are the unconventional
It's still
ones?
part of power. I mean, what is power? How do you get in a position where some people can require or co-opt populations to do certain things, but then it blends into, there's a difference between power where you have, like a president can call out military men with a gun in their hand to stand in the ground and do something and get numbers of people to follow with all the patriotism and all that kind of thing and everything. So they have political power, and then there's economic power, and then beyond that there's influence. So there's an influence where influence is different. You can put out ideas and people can cotton on to them or not, and that's different than power. Because you can go and say something to influence consciousness, but it's not translatable except indirectly to those who wield political power. Right?
What I'm trying.
It's in a certain sense, information and communication is, to a sort of way, I think it's an overworked term, but it's sort of in a certain kind of way meta to the political process. It informs it, and it influences. But influence is a little different, and you put something out and then people accept it or not. But it's different than having power to require with dire consequences or important consequences to people their activity in terms of what they do or don't do, or, like being able to eat. If you have a way of gaining income from the way the thing is set up. So there's a difference between power and influence also. So George might influence consciousness of enough people to have an effect upon the power structure of this, one of the third parties of the tripartite division of power on the planet now. And it's important in that sense.
You know what I want to do is show right...
If I may, it just sounds like it's something that's trotted out right at a crucial moment between, let's say we got 1 week to where this election... What it could do is it could mean, if there's a rise of what they call a movement, it's not just another political, like the Democratic Leadership Council has been running things and everything, and they thought they had everything all wrapped up, and it was a shock that there was this reaction among the American people so effectively by this fellow Barack Obama. And so it's just a phenomenon now.
Harold, has Barack Obama
Yeah.
told us about the directed energy weapons?
No, I don't remember hearing him ever say anything like that. I don't remember. He's much more. He's looking in a quasi-democracy system. He's looking to win the presidency of the United States.
So you don't think it's important that the people know that they should hear?
Oh, what about directed energy? You mean, or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those things do exist. To me, it's part of an overall consortium of capability to coerce with overwhelming power. But it just nests, as far as I understand it, it nests in with the thermonuclear and germ warfare. We had a program with Dean Loren today that was really good. He's really bright, understands pathogens and that kind of thing. And its power to cause death among great numbers, perhaps species lethal. And directed weapons is one part of that consortium of power on the negative side, the destructive side. And they want full domination. The neocons, they made a real takeover of this country to a large degree over the last 8 years, and they had a thing. I had a little discussion with Gloria Messer saying, she said, this is Germany, 1930. And I said, you mean about 1932 or 33, the time of the Reichstag fire. And the difference is that by 1939, Hitler, you could, if you want to make a comparison with our president, Mr. Bush, had 97% approval, full, wholehearted approval by the German people around 1939, 1940, whereas Bush is now a detriment to anything political. And so he's been marginalized as an historic figure. He's probably going to end up being the worst president we ever had. So that's different than Germany.
How's that different from Germany?
Because he had 97% approval. Suppose you had Mr. Bush, everything going his way, and 97% full, firm support of the American people behind him. That would be comparable to what Hitler was in a way to what was the threat of a fascistic thing coming out of Germany in 1940 when they were in their heyday. They were in power. But now Mr. Bush is coming to the end of his term, and he's going to have to just stay out of the limelight because his approval rating in this country and around the world and his policies are such that they're being denounced by the massive population, and it's having an effect on an electoral process. You weren't in a position to vote Mr. Hitler out of power by 1939 because 97% of the people all gave wholehearted support to him. Whereas Bush is marginalized. He's down about 30%.
Watch that weapon.
And that's on a world scale as
Harold,
well.
watch the stream. Look at those weapons. Do you think?
Yeah, what about them? The weapons of directed energy weapons.
Yeah,
that
must be some kind of that must be some kind of heat X-ray thing.
Well, whatever it is, it's part of a panoply of destructive power that is in the hands of the political leadership. They've also
Tactical
got
high-energy laser test bed.
Germ warfare.
Let me read it.
All kinds of things. And another thing is directed energy. Maybe they used it to bring down the buildings, so they could implode the buildings and bring them down rather than have to go through I don't know, but it's all part of a collective destructive power in the hands of people who are maybe not, like Mr. Rosenberg says, they don't have a vision of what's required, and there is at least the promise that Mr. Obama is talking about of that vision, or a context that allow that vision to emerge. It seems to me, as I sense it.
Well, see, here's what my problem is, Harold. I think that you can seduce people into thinking things one way, and actually it's a different way. That's why I'm interested in anorexia. An anorexic thinks that she's fat.
I know. Did I ever tell you that cartoon? There's a cartoon where the guy has one woman looking in the mirror, and she's thin as a rake, or just beautiful, and everything's fine as far as, you know, washboard abs or whatever women have. And she looks in the mirror, and the image she sees is fat. And then you see a man who is really, really fat with a big gut and all that kind of stuff. He looks in the mirror and he sees himself like Charles Atlas.
Right.
So that kind of thing, yeah. And then remember, that's a great big thing they play upon to sell products to people.
Say, Harold,
how to manipulate human consciousness as to foibles and insecurities and things.
Harold, do you realize what you just did telling that joke? It distracts the line of reasoning that I had.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
But are you aware that you do that?
No, I don't know what that'd be worth investigating.
Yeah.
How did that distract?
Well, sometimes I feel that if you're paying attention to your guests and you can get enthusiastic what they're trying to present, help them build up their argument, even if you don't agree with them, at least help them substantiate it.
Okay, you were saying anorexia was an interesting...
I don't even remember what I was saying, to tell you the truth.
You were saying anorexia was a big issue or something.
No, but now I'm actually more interested in this, and the reason is because I am so excited about the work that you've done for 40 years.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, it goes on, except there's a lot of wrinkles. Boy, I just lost a whole lot of my website because of a server malfunction. That's really disquieting.
And yesterday...
That's personal. I don't need to go into that.
Okay, I don't want you to go into that because it gets boring, and I know you have stuff that's not boring. For example, yesterday I was talking...
I do not need to have my site back. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, we can go into that too. You're feeling insecure because your site is down. I can understand that.
Yeah. Or people lose data, and it's a thing. Although there's encouraging in that because they do have systems. Now, are you familiar? This is practical, and I don't know. You've got a site. You've got sites and all that. You want to guarantee or safeguard them. And this would be a tip to the people who might possibly be listening. Is that they've got a new thing, and even the people that represented the hosting company, where I was, you know, what do they call it, a server, and they're hosting your site and everything, they recommended also. And John Kowalski, that great member of our ACAP community, who's very knowledgeable, only discovered it.
Who gave me the stream?
Ago.
Yay, John.
Yeah, yay, John, indeed. He was up helping Josh Walensky and Gloria Messer. I mean, he's great. But anyway, they got a thing called FileZilla. It's a place that is open source and free, and you can safeguard and back up everything you have on a server dependent on a situation I was in. And so you will, if you do have a problem or an issue where the server that is hosting your site, which your material is on, if you haven't had the wisdom or the knowledge to back it up, they call it, you know, you can do that very easily. And John's gone, and so it's encouraging they have now that without somebody there saying we can, so that the technology is making it possible to avoid pitfalls such as I've encountered. It's not the end. I'll be able to build it up again, but I just thought I'd mention that FileZilla is a good site and one that people could repair to safeguard things that are out there on a server somewhere.
No, Harold, I'm really glad that you mentioned that because it brings up what's a deep need of mine for security, which isn't just my website, it's my YouTube website. So when I hear
that's a bigger issue.
When I hear about sites that I most care about for research who have become portals of authority that have brought more clarity to this directed energy weapons and World Trade Center and media deception, when they get taken down, my need for security is shattered.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, that's really important. I'm glad the thing you did when there was was a copyright claim against something it was launched to get you, and they took a posting down from somebody, and then you filed and got the procedure and the policy statement, the policy position of a company as big as Google and so forth, that it did come out all right for you, and they reposted it, which is good. It's important to get those policy statements correct, but yeah, that's very
no. But I think ultimately it's going to require capital ownership. Money talks, and everything else walks. That's what I think. Well, and I think the only reason they bring it back is because they don't want to focalize people too much on the real chink in our armor, which is that we need to go binary, and we're not fast enough. Nico, you know what Nico Haupt told me?
That's an issue that even Barack doesn't touch on. So,
I know.
Nobody touches on that because it's so disruptive.
But you, Harold Channer, I will be behind you and help him, to address that, because I know Robert Ashford is ready to go. He's so good. When I sent him an email, he's so meticulous, he's so specific,
yes.
And he could be such a resource. Now, Nico Haupt, when I was down at the World Trade Center, the Ground Zero, he was telling me, Paula, now that you're putting up this TV fakery, your site may be taken down, all 400 videos. And he said, I want to prepare you because it's like losing a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's right.
And he said he's been through it 4 times, and he said he should know better, but it still hurts when they take it down.
They were over watching the Academy Awards, you know.
Thank you for that, Harold, by the way, opening your home up and letting us come over.
It's all right and everything, and it was interesting because you brought that up. You were there, and he was there, and when they said they took the site, that fellow that came up to visit you, the heavier set fellow that had that art piece,
41,
didn't think should be, and all that, but that it's a TV fake. That it's because they're talking about TV fakery that they take it down.
It seems to be the pattern because
if that's the case, then that's really disturbing.
Right.
And how would that sit? And then I asked them what reason did they give for taking it down.
They just say copy.
I don't know what. See, that would go back again into their policy.
But that's what I'm saying, Harold. On the level of policy, they'll say because you had 1 minute of a Prince concert. But then how come they let the whole hour of the Prince concert stay up somewhere else on YouTube that's more easily found as a Prince concert?
So that could lead one to think the reason they're taking it down is they think that the information about TV fakery is so subversive that it would disrupt the society.
Right.
And that it's because of that. That's what people will assume. Very often those things happen because of some policy glitch. It's not directed. It's not it may be, but if it is, that's very disturbing. I don't know what other
Harold, even if it was a glitch,
I don't see why they would do that.
Harold,
I just don't understand it.
Harold,
I don't understand under what rationale they take something.
Harold, I'm going to help you understand. Even if it was a glitch, wouldn't you think that we should have some kind of, at the very least, even though Norman Kurland hates this idea of a Public Utilities Commission, because eventually people own the regulators, but shouldn't there be some access to who took it down to be able to find out why, to have some discussion? Not some vague thing that it will be tried in a court, near you, which is what I signed away for.
Yeah.
Shouldn't there be some recourse?
Yeah, I would think so.
But
again, I would
go to the Telecommunications Act of 1996 and find out. Isn't that when you were talking about the guy eating his hat?
Well, I was just making a joke with him. He was the leading senator leading that fight, and he spoke before the Columbia, the Ellie Noam's group. That's a very influential group. Remember, I've had great conversations with Eugenia.
Stay on task.
Because she sent me a
Harold.
She had seen him on her television set.
Harold, stay on task. Stay on this. The guy with eating his hat. We'll talk about Eugenia, God bless her, another time.
It's connected.
Okay, what about the guy?
The senator was giving a talk in front of a large group of people at Columbia as that was being debated. He was the leader of that in the Senate. I forget his name. He was the senator. And he's there talking about how it's going to improve everything. And he was talking to Ellie Noam's group. And Ellie is a close friend of Eugenia and Sidney know, and had dinner with them and everything. So it goes back to trying to get back to Sidney Dean and the basis of what sets Access apart from the rest of the telecosm. But so the senator said it's going to lead to a great deal of competition, and we're going to get a lowering of prices, and everything is going to be beautiful if we act this improvement upon the Communications Act of 1934. It was a major transformation in terms of the policy of telecommunications and so forth. And I just said, and I did it, and I just said, well, sir, I would like, well, Senator Snort, or whatever his name was, I said, I raised a question. I said, I just wanted to let you know that I'm familiar with people down in the Greenwich Village who fashion skimmers out of marzipan. And it would make it easier for him to eat his hat when the promises of the Communications Act of 1996 were put into effect.
God bless you, Harold.
Broke out laughing, filled the whole auditorium.
God bless you, Harold.
It was a joke, but
I
it
know.
made a point.
It was a joke, but look at.
Well, it was. Yes, marzipan is like candy. So
that's
if you had to eat your hat, a skimmer is a hat. And he said, "I'll eat my hat if we don't get all these great advances from the 1996 Communications Act." And I just told him that I knew there was a place where he could get a hat made out of marzipan if he had to eat the thing. Better than eating straw.
It seems like we better find that marzipan hat, right?
Yes, I think we should for everybody who uses the term, "I'll eat my hat." And so that's all that was.
Right,
Except
right.
I am happy to say that, okay, I won't go back to the Telecommunications Act of 1996 was a major reformation of the Communications Act of 1934, which had been operative since 1934. And that was at a policy level. That was the context within which the United States system was setting policies. And as I've said to you, the basic policy grounding statement for the United States economy, and to a degree as a mentor economy, the world, is the Employment Act of 1946. I would think that act should be revisited the way they revisited the Communications Act, because the economic policy assumptions are even more effective in terms of the way the society is to be organized, and there's never any mention of that. They just accept, as ipso facto absurd, anything other than the idea that the folks will get income by their labor contribution to production.
So they need capital ownership.
Well, that would be one of the things that come up. I don't think you should say capital ownership is the answer. It's just one critique of it.
Well, what gives
from that side of things for a mixed economy?
But what gives us the power?
You could get a critique of that along socialist lines. There could be
Harold, I got to stay on a really narrow point here. What will give people the power so their YouTube sites will not get taken down?
Well, I don't know. I'm more looking at, I don't know. That's very disquieting. One of the things, I don't know whether or not we could, one thing you might investigate, because you're really pushing the envelope in all directions, which I think is really great, is this thing, and I'm not sure, because I don't know things cyber, but it seems to me everybody that I was in touch with over these last few days and my angst about my site and everything, and it's going to be okay.
Oh, it's going to be okay, good.
The thing is this FileZilla thing, and that's something that is a new thing, a new system on the block that makes it apparently very simple and very easy for you to save and then be able to repost if they take it down. Let's say they just take down everything that isn't some Republicans or something. Only Republicans will be on YouTube, or or something.
That was the Act of 34, right?
The Communications Act of 1934.
Right.
When they set out a broad brush policy statements. And your private sectors, entities will do that. Large corporations have to have policy statements by which they're going to operate and all of that. But so does the government, and so does the system. But so that's at a policy level, and then things change. So things change in advance. I think when they get around to thinking, let's investigate the policy assumptions of our economic thinking, as opposed to just one part of the overall economy, communications, then I think they might be into territory where they consider a major transformation that could get through the Congress and so forth toward what I would think of as binary. But I think there's a whole lot of people in the so-called progressive wing of American society that would think, well, we'll get to another way of thinking, and they would just be saying, well, let's just stiff arms.
Yeah, but you said he's. But you said he's not talking. But you said he's not talking about binary economics. He's not informing people about directed energy weapons. I'm sure he doesn't do 9/11 truth, and he takes crack cocaine.
Well,
and he has blowjobs.
He's a good guy. And he beats his
Harold,
dog.
Harold.
I mean, there's these kind of things that come up. Your ignorance, like I've done.
So I'm going to go out with.
But I mean, it might be helpful in a practical sense.